Mic check 1 2.
More and more.
So yeah, I think now that, I don't think we've seen that.
I'm going to unmute, so we're technically live.
Good morning. Do we have updates from Commissioner Marshall?
About 10 minutes out.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I guess we could convene the initial meeting here and have him join us when he arrives unless there's any objection to that.
Sounds good.
Okay, I would call the meeting to order for the October 1st, 2025 Penobscot County Commission. Call the roll. Commissioner Trumbull.
Here?
Mr. Marshall is en route. Mr. Treasurer.
Here.
And the chair is present remotely. I would ask Commissioner Trumbull, would you like to lead us in the pledge today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Why don't we wait till Commissioner Marshall comes? I don't think he has an objection to approving the minutes, but just out of respect, we'll hold that item. And I would open public comment. Is there anyone in the room who wishes to make a public comment on items not currently on the agenda? We offer you 3 minutes to speak to the commission if you so desire.
Chair, I don't see anybody for public comment right now, but if I could request an adjustment to the agenda, an executive session at the end under personnel 4056A.
Okay. Again, I will wait on a vote on that. Well, actually, we would vote to go into executive session. So unless there is objection, we can add that item to the agenda. Hearing no objection, I would indicate we would add that to the letter N after the warrants on our agenda, which conceivably would make that item L. So we've done public comments. At this point, Director Buswell, I think Commissioner Marshall is familiar with the schedule. Do you want to come forward and give us your report?
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Summer vacation doing?
Awesome. Awesome. I should do it every week.
Oh, you get bored every other week.
You get bored every other week.
Retirement.
Don't really have anything to report. I just want to be sure that everybody's aware that we're going to buy a few sandwiches, eat them on the trip up till we meet up with Commissioner Marshall in Lincoln.
Time to meet.
And we're going to leave here at 11 o'clock.
11, okay. Yep.
We rented a 12-passenger van, so there should be room enough for everybody to get in and spread out. Treasurer won't be able to make it, but we've asked our administrator, finance director, and our administrator is going to be there. So we should have a good trip. And everything that's listed on the tour, that you guys had a copy of, is basically projects that we've spent money on over the last couple of years and projects that we plan on spending money on. So when it comes to the commission for decision, you'll have a pretty good idea what we're looking at. And that's really the reason for the tour. As far as the meeting goes, later in the evening, because we're together, we put together a meeting in the Millinocket area.
Great. Well, we appreciate your work on this. I think it will be helpful to all of us to get out and see some of the activities that you do. The meeting in Millinocket, you've been informed what the location is that the group up there is asking us to meet with them on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at the Further Education Center there in East Millinocket.
Okay.
It's a great place to meet. And we've confirmed that that we're on their schedule. They're expecting us.
Okay, super. Did they happen to supply you with a list of who will be attending?
No, we've had several emails back of people who said they will come and a few emails back from people who said they can't make it. So each group has sent out that we've invited has sent out to their board of directors and their membership. So I got a feeling there'll be some people show up that we didn't actually physically invite, but they're part of that group. So we should have a good attendance from what it looks like.
are we aware if representatives from the town administration of the three communities will be at this meeting?
No, I have I have no idea if they will.
Okay,
I can check into that if the commission wishes and also try to get a list from them of attendees. I know they requested it from us, so.
that would be helpful to me if there's no objection. And I think making the invitation to the administrators and or councils would at least be appropriate since we're gonna be in their town.
Well, the other thing we talked about last week, which we've got a good agenda for the tour, but when we get to the meeting, I think we've asked for the meeting, so I think we should have some type of agenda, just not an open meeting, like, first maybe start with why we're having a meeting.
Well, that's a really good point, have an agenda, and it shouldn't be a very long agenda, really. There are really only two key factors that I see. One of them is, this position that we may or may not continue to finance, it's up, our contract with the MDC is up, so we may or may not continue to finance, and the commission didn't want to make that decision until they had a chance to meet with several of the people in that area. So that's the number one goal of this whole meeting, was to meet with them and see what things we've overlooked, what reasons should we continue. And the only other thing I can think of on the agenda is, do they have anything else they'd like to present to the county commissioners while they have your attention? I mean, really just two things for an agenda.
That's what I
That's
thought,
okay
yeah.
with you.
No, unless there's anything
I
else.
think that's suitable based on the fact that there seemed to be concern on the part of some of those community groups as to the future of this contract. We will take responsibility for the agenda and we will run the meeting, and we certainly welcome anyone who wants to join us. It does not sound as if there are any representatives from the UT who are invited to this meeting. Is that accurate, George, or are there indeed people, to your knowledge, that may be coming from the UT?
I invited Matt Polstein, the only guy doing real community development in the area, and I personally invited him. He doesn't know if he can make it for sure yet. I haven't heard back. But other than that, just Tina and I from the UT.
Okay, great.
The only other thing I think we should add, while we've got a captive audience like that up there, is some type of discussion about, I know we had the discussion here about the budget, but I don't know how many people in that part of the county get down. We could talk about the budget in the jail while we're up there. It's a great opportunity to.
Okay.
I think that's wise, and perhaps, Scott, if you could prepare some of the hard copy of your presentation, which I think was very helpful, and the information from the sheriff, we could take that along to provide them.
So maybe when we reach out to the municipal people, let them know we're gonna update them on the budget in the jail at the same time.
Okay.
That's a good point. That adds to the reason we're there. It helps a great deal.
Good.
Okay,
Was there anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, that was it.
See you Tuesday.
thank you very much.
Short. Keep it short. See you Tuesday 11.
Thank you.
Next up would be the Northern Workforce Development Board presentation, and I think without objection, we could begin with that. Good morning, and good morning, Susan.
Good morning. All good to go?
You are good to go.
All right.
Action.
Um,
We'll
so,
have a little.
my name is Galen Williamson. I'm the Executive Director with Northeastern Workforce Development Board. And Susan Sereni's with me this morning from Eastern Maine Development Corporation. She's a Senior Workforce Development Director. Did I get that title right? Close enough. So,
So many titles, it's hard to keep track.
So what I thought we'd do this morning is give an update about board activities and then turn it over to Susan to give more specific details around program activity as a service provider. Number one, I wanted to talk about just financially what's happening with the board, effective, morning, Commissioner.
Morning, Galen.
Effective October 1st, the Quest grant has ended, and so we are closing out the Quest grant. It's actually closed out effective today, and Susan will share some of the successes that we had with that 3-year contract. And so that does, that does raise questions around what we do financially given the current climate. We know I did receive this week a copy of the contract from the Maine Department of Labor, and that would be for fiscal year 2025. So we do have secured funding for 25. We did receive about a 9% reduction in that contract. What we are concerned about, both locally and as a state and certainly across the country, is that in the PY26 contract, they're recommending a 30% reduction to WIOA funds, which would be very difficult to overcome, and a lot of speculation about how that's going to impact local areas, how that will impact states, and certainly services to the many participants that are served through the 3 WIOA programs. So we don't know how that's all going to play out. But obviously, last night, the federal government went into shutdown. Currently, we're not going to be directly impacted by that. We'll be able to continue services as is, but we do have a meeting right after this to talk about contingency planning, depending on how long that shutdown may last. So we'll know more, hopefully, over the next 24 to 48 hours about the direct impact and the guidance coming down from the U.S. Department of Labor. We, just in terms of other board activities and accomplishments, we recently completed one-stop certification of all of our sites in the Northeast. That's a fairly elaborate process. The board, we have to identify what are those service centers and then what are the affiliate sites. Bangor is our comprehensive one-stop. Then we have the Machias Career Center, Prescott Career Center, the EMDC Ellsworth site, EMDC Dover site, and East Mill site, along with ACAPS, Holton, and Prescott site. So we've completed what I call a three-pronged assessment. We do ADA compliance, physically assess those sites. We do Section 188 assessment, which is a programmatic assessment for individuals with disabilities to access programming. And then we do a one-stop assessment to ensure the integration of services amongst partners. So the board recommended, took the recommendations that were submitted to them by NWDB staff. Effective October 3rd, we're asking for action plans back from each one of the sites to give us their outline of what they're going to do to improve in the areas that need to be improved, and that would need to be accomplished by July of 2025, and we will then continue our certification process from there, depending on the corrective action taken. So very happy that we've moved that along. We've also been undergoing monitoring by the Maine Department of Labor. So that's programmatic monitoring. We submitted a lot of documentation reports to MDOL just in the past week. And this week we've been going through the interview exercise, both with myself as the director and the service providers who represent the program. And I think overwhelmingly we got really positive feedback, but we'll wait to see the final report. And Commissioner, you'll get the report on that as well. We also had a board meeting last week. It was last week, and one of the things that we really accomplished, I think, is moving some policies forward. We're continually trying to update and improve our policies so that they are good working documents for our WDSs, our staff, so they can read them and directly follow them. And so we've been really happy with how we're making progress in improving our policies. One of those policies, we moved forward and got approval on the work-based learning policy, as well as the supportive service policy. One of the key changes that we made in the work-based learning policy is that we raised the minimum reimbursement for the work experience from the minimum wage up to 75% of what the entry-level wage is for someone posting work experience. So we hope that that will create some incentives for employers and also for participants to continue to stay engaged in the work experiences. That's kind of one of our meat and potatoes pieces of our programming, and so we're hoping that that will really help. And we made a number of other changes to it too. In our supportive service policy, we continue to look at our supportive services. Susan's got some documentation here that will show just what, the struggles that our participants are up against in terms of their barriers to employment. And so we try to be flexible and mobile in terms of what we offer for supportive services based on the needs of our participants. There were a few key changes that we made to our supportive service policy. One being that we created a line item cap for emergency housing, which we know is a critical need of many of our participants. We created a line item cap on vehicle repair, and we created a new cap for e-bikes. So participants now may be able to if they lack a primary source of transportation, we will be able to purchase e-bikes to help them expand their opportunities. So that was based off a pilot we did with the Maine Department of Transportation and the Maine Department of Labor over the past year and a half, where we saw, it was a small pilot, but what we saw was pretty significant changes to the participants who were involved in terms of their employment 6 months after their employment rate 6 months after leaving the program, and also increased wage earnings. So those are both two really important indicators for us as a workforce system. So we're hoping that that will pay great dividends to our participants. And last but not least, I did share with Mary Ann just some of the successes we're seeing with our stipends. We've had our ARPA funds available, and when we looked at what proposal we wanted to make with our ARPA funds, we chose to support people who were in occupational skills training. And so to date, we have provided to 158 stipends to different individuals. And what we're seeing, again, 6 months after 6 months after completion, improved employment rates compared to our normal population, and that's a really good indicator. So, and we're supporting many participants in some critical training opportunities as well. So, if you have any questions about that, happy to answer those. But yeah, we're happy with where that's going. So, yeah, percent employed or enrolled after exit, 89%. So 89. When I compared that to our other programs, year-ending programs for PY24, we were averaging about 71% in terms of employment 6 months after. So we'll take everyone we can get. And so I'll turn it over to Susan for more specific programming.
Neil, I have a
Yes,
quick question.
sure.
Commissioner Trumbull, I think, has one first.
Yeah.
Well, just follow up on the last time you ran, Gail. At that time, we were in the middle, well, not we, but everybody was in the middle of what was going on with Job Corps. And there were some lawsuits and stuff. Where did things finally settle out for the Job Corps situation?
They got refunded.
Okay, so with Bangor's going and
Bangor's
the
going.
rest of the counties
Yes.
going?
Yeah. And they're built into the budget for PY26 as well.
Okay.
So
At the
the
same
legal,
level it was at before? or close to it?
Well, we don't know yet, because when they say 30% cut overall,
Oh, it could be private.
and we don't know what percent programs will receive out of the 30%. But, yeah, but right now, their funding's been restored. They're in full operation, working to get all the participants back, in staff. It was quite a transition for them. And I think, I think we'll just have to see what PY 2026 brings. I've talked to the director recently, and they really don't know. The legal actions that, of course, the National Job Corps Association filed a lawsuit, and that's still unresolved. So they're waiting to find out what will happen with that, but they think there'll probably be a settlement.
Thanks.
Gail, you talked about the fiscal year 26, a 30% reduction. Can you give me a figure? Is that translated into a figure you anticipate?
Yeah, so, our current budget is about 1.6 million, so 30% of that, numbers off the top of my head,
Over 450,
it's a lot, yeah.
480.
And the Department of Labor Review, is that annually or and just,
The monitoring,
yeah, is that
it's annually.
So it's
Yeah.
nothing that was special?
It's fiscal and programmatic annually. So we're going through the fiscal part, we're going through, we're, MDOL hired an outside consultant to do the monitoring to get them caught up on the fiscal monitoring of us. They're up to 2024 on the fiscal monitoring part of that. We haven't got the final report back from them. We just, I think in the last 3 weeks, submitted all of our final, documentation that they needed to review. We'll get a report out on that, I'm sure. And then the program monitoring, that will be about a month and a half process. So we submitted all the reports and documentation they wanted, from organizational charts all the way down through contracts, RFPs, everything that we possibly would generate. They'll review it over the next month, and then they'll set up an interview again with myself and the program to provide their insights. That's usually a fairly collaborative approach. I mean, what they will do is they will go through and identify all the successes that we are having as a board, and then they will find areas of concern, and then areas what they call findings, and those are the areas that we need to formally address. But it's not uncommon. They will have findings. It's not like an adjudicatory process. Here's an area that you need to address to and develop a corrective plan, and you've got X amount of time to do it. So, seems to me like the monitoring is a norm, it's an ongoing. And then we will also have US Department of Labor come in and do their layer of monitoring too. So, I expect that will happen over the next 6 months to a year, we'll see. They don't give us much time before they do it.
The updated policies you're having your staff undergo, was that required by federal regulation?
What's that?
The updated policies you have that your staff is undergoing, is that predicated on federal requirements?
Those are federal, that's federal guidance.
And the 75% match, so the employees are seeing actually a 25% reduction in their own costs, which is really positive. And as we look at your worker fund, the ARPA work fund done a great job there, a wonderful job, accommodations there.
Yeah.
And I had one last question on the Job Corps. Have we seen a reduction of actual people enrolled in Loring and Bangor? Has there been an actual reduction? I know a lot of those folks went home. Have we seen a reduction? I know that the funds are going to be reduced, but.
Yeah, there has been a reduction. Some of it's because of the pause that they went through. They were actually before the pause actually had happened. They were running really high numbers. They were up over 200 in both facilities, I believe, which is really great. And an increased percent of people from Maine, which I thought was really
Well,
great.
particularly in Bangor, Loring is 80% out of state,
80% out of
20%
state.
in-state, and we're the reverse here.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, so much
So,
exact, yeah.
of those 80% in Loring, any idea of how many are not returning?
No, I don't, I couldn't give you an
That'd be
exact
hard to
number.
ask,
Yeah.
I just thought maybe you know.
I actually have some idea, but I don't want to give an exact number, but I can get it from the director, Mr. Moore, if you want. Yeah.
Thank you. Susan?
Great, thank you for having me here this morning. The last couple of times you've been able to see some of the other staff of EMBC who are on the ground doing the work, because they're doing a really excellent job. I'm here today really just to kind of back up some of the stuff I was talking about and give you some more, deeper numbers that I'd like to share. Galen's talked about the Quest program that is ending, and that was basically additional funding that we had. You're probably most familiar with our formula funds, which is the WIOA funds, the Workforce Innovative Opportunity Act. That allows us to serve youth, adults, and dislocated workers from the ages of 14 to anything. The Quest funding allowed us to serve additional folks with additional barriers. So the Quest grant that we've been kind of working with over time that has ended also allows us to co-enroll into other programming. So even though that Quest funding is ending, we have taken the enrollments and been able to co-enroll them into other eligible WIOA programs. So it doesn't stop for them. We get to continue serving them and continue to provide the services if they're in need. So that's really the beauty of some of the leveraging that we're able to do with the additional funds that we get aside from the WIOA funds. So even though Quest has ended, we are still serving individuals and still continuing to do that. To give you an example of numbers, overall, EMBC and ACAP, so EMBC as a whole, we were able to serve in the last program year, which was from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, we served 646 individuals. A difference from the previous year was the previous year we served 514. So an example is, out of that 646, for Quest itself, we served, we served a different amount that really offset the amount of that. So we served 583 that were served for the formula funds out of that 646. So that left us with, an additional amount to serve from the Quest program, but it allowed us to serve more people because we had the additional funding. Out of those numbers that I reported, 41% of those numbers were accounted for in Penobscot County. So in Penobscot County, we served 268 individuals. Our funding, of course, comes through all the different counties, and that's why I think showing you the numbers specifically to this region, 41% of it, again, being Penobscot County. Galen talked a little bit about the e-bikes, and that program was so successful that the Maine Department of Labor, in conjunction with the Maine Department of Transportation, came back to work with EMBC, so they were able to give us additional funding for additional e-bikes. So in the last couple of months, we've been spending an opportunity to really provide more e-bikes, not only just for Penobscot County, but because of the success of Penobscot County, they actually continued it also for Waterville in the Lewiston area. So that allowed other regions, based on our success, to be able to have that opportunity to provide e-bikes. So right now, we're in the process of being able to do about 10 additional e-bikes in this region that is coming from a different funding source. So
Was that the Department of Labor that stepped up on the e-bike?
Department of Labor in conjunction with Department of Transportation.
With
So-
Maine DOT?
Yep, the Maine DOT and Maine Department of Transportation. So the success from just the original e-bike program has now allowed them to really identify other regions such as Waterville and Lewiston to be able to provide that. And that was based on the success that was here. I think the e-bikes is one representation of the barriers to employment. So when Galen talked about the stipends and the success that came from that, what we're finding in workforce right now is it's very hard for individuals to either train or work. They have to be doing both. And if they can't provide themselves to be able to train fully, the stipends are allowing them to have some sort of income while they're going to training to be successful after. I think we're seeing that all across the board, that it's no longer you can go to school for a period of time and just concentrate on school. You really have to be able to do both. That's why with our programming, we're able to offer things like work experiences getting them into jobs while they're working that maybe match to their actual training at the same time, so that gives them an additional income too. I think that that's partly why that program is so successful, is the stipends really have played a role all across the board, and we're identifying that all across the state as being part of the success to that. In addition to that, we've spent a lot of time with EMBC on continued improvement and efficiencies, and always trying to look at, what are the things we need to do differently, or what do we need to do more of. We identified that our programs are successful, and the reason why people would work with us and where the funds come in is that we really are matchmaking to employers. So we're really having an opportunity to talk to employers and businesses, but we're also identifying the barriers and needs of the job seekers. And by having both of those conversations, we're allowing ourselves to really match the industries with the job seekers. To increase that opportunity, we've created a business service team through Workforce. So we have individuals on the ground now where their focus is going to be talking to the employers, offering them information on things like on-the-job training and work experience. On-the-job training and work experience is another opportunity where individuals are getting to, kind of dabble. For work experience, they get to take a look at it. They're being mentored at the same time, but the funds that we receive are able to pay the wage of that. So when Galen was talking about the increase in minimum wage, it's because we're now allowing them to earn and learn at the same time. What that does for the employer is it gives the employers a little less, if they're a little hesitant in wanting to hire somebody, they get an opportunity to really see, is this person a fit? But the job seeker sees that as well. In continuation to that, if they really find that this is a fit for them, they can continue on with on-the-job training. So what that means is that individual is hired at the time, so they're now an employee of the business, and on the back side of it, EMBC is working with the employer to reimburse them up to 50% for a period of time because they're agreeing to train them more. A lot of times I like to explain that is you could have two individuals, one that maybe has all the things you need, all the skills are there, but someone that might fit a little better culturally, but they just don't have the skills and there's a little bit of a gap. That opportunity to utilize those funds allows that employer to hire that person that they really feel is a fit, but also get some sort of reimbursement because they know they might have a little bit more training with that. So that's a lot of where those supportive services come in, being able to make sure that they have transportation. And I had printed out and just wanted to share a couple of numbers with you. We were able to report kind of as those individuals are enrolling, if they disclose certain barriers that they have, we're able to look at that for this region, what that stands. Our goal is to actually break it down by county because that will allow us to see within our county what are the various barriers that are specific to the region to help us identify that both with employers and with individuals. So a couple of numbers I'll just share is that out of those numbers I shared earlier, 468 individuals self-identified as being low income. So that's
Being what?
low income.
Okay.
Out of that, 196 actually self-disclosed as having a disability. And then in addition, we had 142 that self-disclosed as being ex-offenders. And all of those pieces are important because those individuals are they're on the sidelines trying to get back into the workforce. We're trying to really help employers understand the barriers, but also what the advantages could be by really taking on the individuals and work experiences, on the job training, letting them shadow and being able to meet them through the programming that we're doing. And that's really where the supportive part comes in. As we go to identify the policies and the increases that they're making and the differences, it's really balancing on what we're seeing as the workforce being out there in the field.
Yeah, that's it. First, can you say low income?
Yep.
When anybody looking for a job, it seems like they probably would be low income. Wouldn't more barriers be like, the transportation, they get to eat by childcare, things
Yep.
like that? I mean, are those more?
Yeah, and I think when we dig deeper into that, that's part of that's why these programming funds are so important, because the role of the workforce development specialists are to really identify that, because the barriers, you could get free training. Free training is great, but are you gonna be able to get to the training?
Right.
Do you have the transportation to get there? And if you were to take a look at the different numbers of people who drop out of trainings and see the ones that maybe aren't even finishing their schooling is either because they're going to work quicker because employers are taking them on, or it's because they can't get there. Childcare, the piece around the transportation part of it, but even other things such as tools. If you're going into a training where you need tools and you can't afford the tools, that's another thing that we're able to provide for them.
Just a quick question on e-bikes too. I mean, for Maine, it seems like it's doable like March through November. What happens in December through February with the people that depend on e-bikes to get to work? Do they use them as snowstorms or?
That's a good question. I think in some cases they have, and they've been able to develop, and I think that's something they keep on changing.
Yeah, well, there's tires.
These are the fat tire.
Yeah, you get the fat tires, and there's actually not a lot of days during the winter time that you can't use the e-bikes. But if they need to use the e-bike during the winter time, then they can go to the bike shop and get the tires that they need to, to drive. So they're more and more becoming a year-round mode of transportation. It's not perfect,
Right.
but it's better than what they had prior to, so.
And when we purchase the e-bike, it also comes with helmet. There's also training they have to do in using the e-bike. So it's an e-bike along with equipment.
Who does the training?
It's a safety training that they actually have to complete it. It's put on through the state contracts out for that. Yeah, but they have
Might be the
to.
local, this group of the Bike Coalition.
Yeah, the Bike Coalition is a
Bike
partner as
Coalition,
well.
yeah.
Yep. And they're one of the partners with the e-bikes as well.
So the money's really, some of the money's referred to in these assistance program are pretty much like a work-study program for college kids. Allow them to pursue their thing, especially if it's in their field of endeavor. Yeah, that's good.
And I think part of the work for us on the ground is to really help them identify like entry-level jobs, like getting them through the door of the jobs that they pursue. Because if they're getting through the door early while they're doing the training that allows them that advancement, it's also really beneficial for the employer. Especially in healthcare, there's a lot of jobs that you could go in to do while you're pursuing your training. And that really allows the employer sees them at that point and then being able to advance them as they move forward. And we have a lot of industries that are able to do that, and that's where apprenticeship comes in too. Because you can actually utilize work experience OJT into apprenticeship as well.
Yeah. Susan, let me ask you a question. You talked about the Quest Fund ending and transitioning to other programs. What percentage of our clients are able to transition there, and how many do not? How many fall through the cracks?
That's a really good question. With the Quest grant specifically, the way that the Quest grant is, how it identifies is I don't know the percentage off the top of my head of what we were able to do, but it's very few that wouldn't be able to transfer into it because Quest, typically it's a dislocated worker program.
It's easy, it's not difficult, it may be not very easy, but it's easier. More than difficult to transition.
Yeah, and we start that process months ahead of time because what we try to do is we identify if somebody's in a training, for example, and they're receiving funds through Quest. Right when we start that out, if we know the training's going to go beyond the contract time, we're already co-enrolling them so that it just continues on. So it's something we identify right from the beginning. It's not something that's like last minute and we can't do it. That's part of our role and our job is to really identify. I think if you could look at it as we are very fortunate because we have the WIOA funding and then we have the Quest funding. EMDC also has been very fortunate to have the jail diversion funding and other funding sources that have come into play. So we really train our workers so that they see that there's this menu, there's all these opportunities. So when you're meeting with an individual, you're figuring out their barriers, you're figuring out what they'd be eligible for. You know up front really where they could fall into that as you're doing that assessment. So because we have additional funds, we're already knowing that all along the way.
Great, good, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? We really appreciate the work you did and the reporting. Thank you for your time and attention.
Gail, are you going to be available after? I'd like to get everything on that. Thank you, Susan. Have a good day.
At this point, we would call on Director Fox for an EMA update on the bid process.
Mr. Chairman, before we do, is it all right if we approve the minutes first?
Thank you very much for that. Yes, at this point, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the September 24th, 2025 meeting.
I would make the motion.
Second?
Motion is second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Chris, whenever you are ready.
I leave and everybody else leaves?
We also approved the minutes, Scott.
Yeah.
All right, good morning. Thanks for the time today. Apologies for the late update with a development since your packet was created. So at your last meeting, 3 bids were open for the 2016 Ford Interceptor. The highest bid received was $2,500. That submitter was contacted and found to be ineligible, but through working with that submitter, his intent was to purchase it while his community was developing a first response program and the eventual plan to get that to them. So in the spirit of collaboration that we're trying to continue here at the county, we inquired with the individual, perhaps the town directly would buy the vehicle, which would be an eligible entity in its equipped status under that same bid. And on Monday, I got a call from Chief Emerson from the Corinna Fire Department to confirm that they will, if awarded the bid, fill out the bid and make the purchase on behalf of the town. So it's in consultation with the administrator, it's our recommendation that the commission move to award the bid to the town of Corinna for the amount of $2,500.
Yeah, the confirmation of Chief Emerson is good enough for me. I move approval.
Yeah, second, this was our intent, so I think it worked out great.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the bid on behalf of the Corinna Fire Department. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Thank you for your work in clarifying that, Chris.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
At this point, we would invite the Facilities Director to join us.
Good morning.
Morning.
I believe all I have is to talk about the bidders for Franklin Street. After discussions with the administrator, I reached out to the 2 lowest bidders asking for references. The second bidder on that list sent projects back that they worked on, but not any contact information of any individual. So, but the lowest bidder, Benchmark, did send 4 contacts for 3 different projects, one of them being Bangor City Hall. And everyone that I spoke to, I spoke to 3 people, had nothing but glowing recommendations. So again, with discussion, we discussed it, and I believe we should choose Benchmark for this project.
Well, I would agree if we can pay them the bill. Do we have anything we can take out of the bid? Anything we can cut back on the project? I mean, I know we got $250 allocated.
We actually,
maybe we can find some other money, but.
We actually did take some things out of the project that we have to do ourselves. So the finished product will be a little bit higher than this. So we're gonna, our HVAC contractor is going to finish some of the work, and we will install the fire alarm system. There's a fire alarm system in that building, but we will install it in the office space ourselves using our own contractor. So we're going to have 2 additional bills in addition to this. We can work with them to see if we can reduce the cost a little bit. I don't have anything on the top of my head that screams, we can cut this out, but we'll take a look at it once we get meeting with them and going over the project and see if there are places where we can save some money.
So Administrator, we're looking at 420 and 220. We got 220 in reserve for that?
We got 250 right now currently in escrow for this project. Yeah.
what source would you be looking at to complement the discrepancy?
Yeah, if you wish, I believe I can get 100K from the, what's currently known as, it's a summary of projects. It's the $1 million jail, buildings, ARPA account. For instance, the toilet project over at the jail, the valve replacement project over at the jail was a significant one in there, and so were the jail doors. And then in addition, the balance would probably have to come from the building's escrow account.
So what's that, 130 or something in that order?
Yeah, 120, yeah. Yeah, hopefully there aren't any change orders. It all looks good. I think we've done Brian and working with the architect have done as great a project as they can to, minimize that.
Is it the recommendation administrator to go with benchmark?
Yes, yep.
We have a motion regarding this proposal.
I'd make a motion, we accept benchmark.
Second, I just have some more funding questions here. So
Please.
how much is in 301 account now?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 750K.
All right, and we're using that same account for the second floor here, even though we're doing it internally?
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
free, so
Yep.
the bids for that weren't there at 250,
Correct.
so.
So for half of that, we're hoping, and quick talks
So
with
we
Brian.
can do it for 50 at the second floor?
The bids were 166 and 195, I believe.
Okay.
But I think we can, I think we can do, the way we have it planned and
You
with the
recommend
stuff,
doing that in-house, all right?
I think we will, with contracted assistance where needed, electrical and things. I think we can do it for probably significantly less than half.
Yeah,
And what do you think, what did we have to do for HVAC work down Franklin Street, what's that?
We've replaced all of the HVAC in that building.
Oh, so it's done, you said we were gonna do that ourselves, it's
We
already
did.
done?
We replaced all of the HVAC in the building, but where this was being renovated, we don't know where the
Oh, they just
office.
have to run the vents and all that stuff?
finish it off. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, okay,
It-
so they might have
Might be
30
some
or
additional cost
40,000,
there, but
they
then
figure 40,000.
I don't have a price from them yet.
And the alarm is probably 20,000, they could leave. So we're gonna need 200,000, right?
Yeah, but with regards to that project there that you were just talking about, finishing off the HVAC, I think our plan is to use the grant monies, because for that project to keep separate from the ARPA project, because the grant monies will require
Right.
Davis-Bacon wages, so.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, and then, yes,
Okay,
correct.
all right, that's all.
it's doable, it's gonna be tight, these are things we're, 80% committed on. But yes, that's my recommendation.
And this was predates me, can you tell me again, what are we gonna use this space for?
Franklin Street?
Yeah.
What will be the sheriff and civil patrol.
Okay, and why do they need to move from where they are
There were space restrictions, there'll be creative efficiencies. It will open up the annex, which, the construction to change that into programs for programming. There are other funds that the sheriff believes can be used to facilitate those needs, so.
now? Yeah, I know this is decided, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been supportive of this, but it's been.
Parking is going to be, aside from the renovations, parking is going to be a bear down there, and yeah, it was known from the start, but, yep.
It'll work itself out.
I think also with us absorbing the pretrial program that we needed additional space, did we not?
Yeah, that would be another one that would kind of, yeah,
I mean, needs to be done, whatever, if we decide to rent it out to somebody, it's gotta
Exactly.
be done, so.
right, that was, yes, yeah.
Okay. So
We have a motion.
do we have a motion regarding this?
I made the
You got a
motion.
Yeah, I
motion.
seconded it.
Yep,
Did we clarify the funding model to everyone's satisfaction?
Good.
Okay. So the motion is to award the bid for the Franklin Street renovations to Benchmark Construction? Is that correct,
It
Brian?
just says benchmark.
out of Westbrook.
Westbrook, Maine, in the amount of $470,000.
$234.
Okay. And funds would come from the allocated ARPA, an additional allotment from designated ARPA jail renovation funds, and then the balance from the county buildings account.
Correct.
All right. Everyone satisfied with that motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 We should try to work on a report between you and I and finance on kind of bringing this as a running tally balance and projections moving forward on all of these projects. Yeah.
Anything further, Brian?
Not at this time.
Okay, appreciate your work on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
And at this point, we would entertain Director Palmer to information from finance. And the treasurer will step in as well. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
What would you like to touch on first, Brenda? Would you like to do the VOCA policies, or do you want to do your budget?
Let's do the budget.
Okay.
Yeah, can you get the policies first?
Oh.
We gotta load up. Let's sleep on me.
Yeah, this shouldn't be
Yeah.
too long. You've seen the accounting policy draft. What I'd like to do today is be able to finalize it to the point that we are able today, so we can submit it to the state to satisfy the VOCA grant findings. The only thing we had talked about last time was having dual signatures on some of the checks over a certain dollar amount. I took that out for now, something we can look in. I mean, this is gonna be a living document. We'll continue to update this as things evolve. The other piece that we had talked about, the use of purchase orders. We have kind of a paper system going now. The sheriff uses it mostly. You know, if they're gonna have a big purchase, they'll track it through a paper purchase order. Don Gower does a really good job of tracking that, but we don't utilize an electronic system right now. I'd like to start doing that with our new product, but that's gonna probably be a little ways down the road.
It's transitional.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna transition all our regular work first, and then, so I'm just putting a placeholder in the document for that, you know, that it will be updated. And then also the other area that is gonna be changing, on page 18, where we talk about the preparation of timesheets, that's gonna significantly change when we go with our new HRIS system with ISO. So again, I just, I'll put a placeholder in there for now, and we'll update once we have our processes in place. That's gonna help us so much with payroll, and we're keeping things on spreadsheets. I mean, it's all over the place right now. It's gonna be, I'm actually more excited about that than the general ledger, which is kind of crazy. So that was really all I had to point out that is kind of in flux at the moment. Did anyone have any specific questions?
Pretty clear.
Yeah, it's pretty basic, really, and it is helpful, though, as you know, we are a small shop, so make sure that we are having our internal controls, you know, properly executed. So it was a good refresher for me, even to walk through this, and I've shared it with my group, and we're going to continue to to work on it and look at it, so.
So I know this was required for the VOCA program.
Yeah.
Is the auditors never had raised an issue that we didn't have this in place?
Oh, no, they've been doing that for years.
How come we haven't, any reason we didn't do it?
It was always in process.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so it will satisfy a few different requirements that we've kind of been,
You give them nothing left to complain about.
well, I don't know about that.
I'm sure. Hope springs eternal.
Hopefully.
Motion in order, Mr.
Any further questions regarding this? Okay. At this point, I would entertain a motion to accept the proposed policy.
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussions? I guess, Dan, if you had a question, you might talk to the prior county treasurer about that if you.
Where is it?
Yeah, thank you.
You'll notice, I believe it says policy, so in addition to, there's also the language policy. I think Tony has stepped out for a second, but I think the intent was to get those approved together.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have a copy of that, but she was hoping to do that, so that we can put this grant issue to bed and deal with all the
Here she comes now.
findings, so.
Okay, we'll just give it a second to get.
Coming in now.
But there would be no objection.
Is that it?
Tony, we just talked about the language policy, language access policy. Did you have anything to tell the commissioners?
Nothing new. I reviewed some of Commissioner Marshall's questions from the last time we saw this with the DA's office. And they're doing it now through, not budgeted funds. They have some forfeiture funds that they use. This isn't taxpayer funded. So I think that maybe hopefully answers your funding question. And so because it's already being done, we just have to have the policy as a checkbox for the VOCA grant funds to continue.
Okay,
That is just a pro forma, we can do them both together.
Yep, if the commission's fine with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
if there's no objection, we would add approval of that language to the current motion.
Yeah, so moved.
Second?
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the policy and language as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous, and we thank you for that.
Good job. Thank you.
Now we will enter, unless we have another item, Brenda, we would enter into discussion on this coming year's budget, Department 7.
Split by stuff.
All right.
All right, so Department 7 budget commissioners, as we usually do, I'll go down through the payroll and benefits. And they're pretty straightforward unless you have any questions. There's nothing that jumps out here for me.
Everyone had a chance to review. I think my personal preference would be all of the budgets other than perhaps minor ones like bridges and debt service that we take under advisement till we have the full scope of this year's budget, especially in light of the major, funding concern we have. Is that?
Yeah, when it comes to budget review, I pay attention to percentages, and I saw the percentage for computer programming,
Yes.
54,800%
Yeah, we
increase.
did want to talk about that, so.
That raises questions.
Yes, so we've got two significant new charges hitting that line starting next year. So the first is Edmunds, and that's gonna replace Trio as our general ledger system.
That's just the cost of the new program.
It's just the new software.
And the one-time cost. I looked at that percentage column.
Yeah, that should, yeah. But we are splitting that, with the Department 6, is it?
Yeah, so the finance piece, the non-HR piece of the HRIS is being split between the commissioners and the treasurer, as that's typically what we do with these programs. As well as the charges for the Edmonds program that are split between 6 and 7, the commissioners and treasurer.
What is the percentage? Is 50/50 or?
Yeah.
All right.
And then the new HRIS system that we're sharing with HR, because we currently pay for the timesheet system that's only used by, I think maybe somebody in the sheriff, I'm not even sure. The jail.
AOD is mostly, corrections and
Yeah,
some of the units.
so that cost will go away and we'll replace it with the new iSolve. But this reflects the new net, the net amount. So, yeah, that's an increase as well. But as I mentioned earlier, in looking at the policies, this is gonna help our group immensely. It's gonna allow us to have much more efficient payroll process and free up time to get caught up on some of these other issues. And
Between you and Susan Belay at Registered Deeds, we're gonna step into the 21st century.
we are fighting and screaming, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
I think just the way we split the costs up, if anything payroll related is we split out of the HRIS and shared with finance.
So that makes sense. So I think everything else was either flat or mostly flat. So yeah, that's our big jump this year.
Any additional questions on those increases? As you may remember, some of this was also predicated on the research HR did on our health insurance, which will see some fairly significant savings accrued with the new process for representation.
Yeah, if I could, Chair, for clarity, I think at the last meeting it was mentioned that health insurance, it was like a $90,000 broker fee and based off of 3 million of expenses. And at that time I thought it was a little low, but I didn't have time to react. But in looking at it again, our healthcare expenses are actually over 5 million. So we're closer to, and I think I put that in an email to you earlier. You know, it comes out to 168,000 is what the broker fee will be.
Yeah.
Again, just to reiterate, so I got everybody in there so that I could at least get a flat line idea of what, a total idea of what we're looking at for an increase. And then come up with a number that I could reduce. And I reduced, afterwards I went back in and reduced based on the new rates for health insurance. I reduced our overall budget by over 200,000. That
includes 168.
That's kind of where that's derived from, because that's no longer in the health insurance.
Right.
That always used to be in there, now it's taken out, so now we have, you know, broker fees separate. But in the end, we're looking at over $100,000 in savings.
That's good. Kudos.
Thank you.
Any questions regarding this, or would we take this under advisement?
Oh, we have all the.
Yeah,
I think we have, we can pull the trigger on this one, I think.
No, I would not. I think if we continue with just keeping it under advisement.
Oh, yeah, okay, so you want to put everything under advisement
And then at the end, I think there were some decisions and avenues that the commission needs to consider, and
you don't have to wait for your Christmas present till Christmas Day.
once you vote and tangle it, by statute, it becomes difficult to untangle.
Okay, that's fine.
But if you want to tangle it, that's a commissioner decision.
No, I think I'm gonna go there. No. Under advisement. Oh, that's my administrator says no.
All right, so we will take this portion under advisement with thanks for your work on it.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
At this point, we will invite the HR department for their update.
Yep.
again.
Good morning. This should only take about 4.5 hours, so.
Better not.
Oh, thank you. I'll order dinner early.
Looking through the agenda, the first thing I have is a wellness policy. I brought this to you a couple of weeks ago. You weren't quite ready yet, so I have made a few changes. We are still waiting on the risk pool.
Oh, yeah.
What was it regarding the risk pool again?
The county's insurance liability,
Oh, yeah.
if someone got hurt.
Yeah, notwithstanding the waiver language that you put in here.
Correct. I hope he doesn't have great issue, because we've already been using that waiver form for quite a while now, so, this policy aside, if we have employees waiving liability.
And you're talking with Malcolm on this?
Yeah, so, unless there are other issues with the policy, I think we should wait to hear from him. I think it does, it may change, the waiver may change with regards to lowering the age for admission. That would be my only concern.
Yeah, I would want his input on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So if everything else is fine with this, then we can just get ready for, Malcolm's input and then come back and approve it.
Yeah, if you go with the overall language, that at least lets me know not to keep
Yeah,
working
I
on
looked at
it.
that, it looks great, I mean,
Okay.
you did a good job. That's the only question is liability as it relates to risk, and that's
Yeah.
something we do have to run by our risk management people.
Yeah, no, we approved this earlier. We're just waiting.
So we move to, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think Commissioner Trumbull's right. I think we've already done
approved this, we're
this.
just waiting to
Yeah,
hear from him.
yeah.
Okay.
So we can move on if you wish. Yeah.
Next
Do we need
thing
any
on
motions?
my, oh, I don't think so.
Not at this time, no.
Okay. The next thing on my list, I have evaluations for you. I have in your packet, the first section of the evaluations are the hourly employee. There's a SOP, and then behind that is the corresponding form. You kind of blessed it at your last meeting, but didn't formally adopt it, which is fine, because I still have to work on the department head version, which is directly behind it. And so today, I would hope that you bless them formally, so we can implement them January 1.
Has the commission reviewed this adequately to take action?
Yeah, I think these are great, and good starting point, and it's always a tweak later.
Right.
To start with.
Yeah. There's no major issues and
No,
you can approve them today and it's like, it's a living document.
And that was my thought, you give us 6 or 8 months to get a few of
Right,
these
you'll see
done. We
what-
might go, geez, this question doesn't really make sense for this department or something. We
Right.
can always modify, and then just have them on an annual review basis with you all.
Yeah.
all right, looking for approval of the performance evaluations as presented.
Second,
Do we also want to approve the wellness policy, or are we waiting?
they're both right there.
No, wellness, we're holding off until we hear from Malcolm.
Oh, Malcolm,
That's right, I'm sorry. Okay, so the evaluation and supervisor evaluation have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion?
that's both employee and department head, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous, and we thank you for the good work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now Department 2 budget.
This is the best part. So, we've made some adjustments to the budget that I had presented to you last month, mostly in relation to the HRIS and splitting that with finance, but also adding the broker fees into my budget. Previously, those fees have been paid directly by the healthcare system, and because we're taking those out of the premiums, we need to fund those directly from us, which I think will give us a lot of great oversight of what's actually being spent dollar for dollar versus. the
Gives a
varied
clearer
fees.
picture of what's actually happening.
Correct. So those have been added, and I think, Scott, those were the only 2
Yep,
changes from last time.
yep. My only other note was that, oops, I just see I spelled quarter wrong. And this is, again, for consideration, no decision necessary today, but as you look under the HRIS, there are roughly $16,000 in one-time fees. So.
What's the section on that, Scott?
40-0200. Should be right below
Okay,
payroll
yeah.
and benefits.
So there's, it was a one-time, right?
Right. There's always a consideration, and I can bring you updated, accurate numbers, but there's not quite enough in the HR and the commissioner treasurer. They kind of share an escrow account, and there's really no major plans in the spending of those escrow accounts. So I think right off the top of my head right now, there's roughly 12 grand or so that could be applied towards those one-time fees to help reduce the budget. But again, you exhaust the escrow account, but there's no plan for the money, so, yep,
Does that include my $2,000-ish as well?
I believe it does.
Okay.
Yeah, or a portion of,
Okay,
I think I might have left you a buck or two in there, but yeah,
I hope it's at least two.
yeah.
Can't get much for $1.
But again, that's just a later consideration, when we get down to talking about the nitty-gritty. On the 29th?
Okay. So just doing a quick mathematical here, about 70% of your increase is related to the broker fees.
Broker and the HRIS,
Yeah.
yes.
Tony, under the printing services, it's marketing, recruitment, retention, and morale.
Yeah, so we use that line a little bit for some of our recruitment retention, some of our career fairs. We have banners and different things that will replace that go out front here on the lawn for hiring events. So it's kind of hard to quantify, but we use printing companies for it.
Yeah, well, I assume that's what it was, okay. I just said morale.
Yes, banners and we have little trinkets we have at the career fairs, little stress balls and
Okay, yeah,
things.
that's what that, okay.
Does
The kids walk.
Cigna provide any other wellness dollars that are applied to some of those?
Not to the HR budget directly. We have, oh boy, Mary Ann, about $14,000 a year in wellness. But those go through the wellness committee, which do fall fitness classes. We do the health and benefit fair in the summer, which is a little barbecue out here. We have the annual benefits fair. They don't really touch, those dollars don't really touch the HR piece at all.
Right, but I think the question might be is, could possibly some of that being used, yeah. Again, just looking at this budget, Commissioner, there are a lot of increase in asks, and for me, at least at this point, I would ask if the department, if Director Dyer would go back through and kind of just take another look for you. That's gonna be requested. You just get, you get the benefit of being the first, but also the first the second time. And I think that's kind of, for any department that's asking for a lot of increases, that's gonna be requested or should be requested. So maybe offer them before it gets scrubbed.
I can move
type
$2.
approach. Yeah,
I'll take $2 off.
there you go.
I will relook at the lines that are highlighted in yellow.
Yeah.
And just double check my numbers.
Yeah. But yeah, Chair, you're correct. The majority of the increases from the HRIS and the broker fees. But back to the HRIS, there's also, as you look above, there's a significant reduction in payroll regarding the regular part-time person, which is exactly kind of where in the grand strategic plan of the county is we are and we need to look at, again, similar with the admins, we need to look at technology. Even if, you know what, I'll say it again, even if we had all the money in the world, we're not gonna find people. That just, the population isn't there anymore. So I think as you look at the overall cost of the HRIS, that, well, at least looking at here now, it's reduced by 14,000. I can tell you that the individual that we had in there and it became necessary, there was gonna be an increase of at least probably another 10 requested from that. So my point being is I think you can attribute that if you were not to agree with HRIS, that you might save there, but we're gonna have to plug back in for employee as well, and maybe closer to a full-time.
Just walk me through, so I'm missing some step here, because
Yeah.
the broker fees that we were gonna get was gonna more than pay for the HRIS system. And now, so I would think it's more than gonna pay for it, you get some big percentage increase here and there, but not really big dollar increases in other areas. But it's still showing almost a 15, if I'm reading it right, almost a 15% overall increase in your budget. So are we applying all the savings from the broker fees to this account? What step am I missing?
That's a great question, Commissioner, because we really can't, because it was never in the budget at first. That's why I said earlier, when I went in and I don't have the sheriff's budget, the jail, which is not directly but indirectly, civil and probate. But I have all the payroll numbers because I developed those. So I went in and flatlined everything, because I wanted to see what does the budget look like after I have all the budgets in there.
So it's getting spread out, because we're not actually getting a check from them.
Exactly. So that's why I said our health insurance,
Right.
simple answer would be, our health insurance was originally in there at about actually it was in there at 5%.
And it's 1%.
And now it's less than 1% because that 3% came off it automatically. So that $200,000 I mentioned, over $200,000.
So we couldn't do it where we paid the increase and then they wrote us a check then?
I guess we.
Because we're not actually
could,
seeing
but
all the
that-
savings, employees are seeing some savings, we're seeing, the county itself not seeing that full savings.
You're not seeing it until you
Because
get
it's
the
split
whole
between the
picture.
employee and the.
Yeah.
What was that again?
Well,
I think you'd only see it year over year once you realize you're not paying
yeah,
let's look at the whole budget, not just my
Yeah.
department, and see that you're not spending the healthcare costs.
Right.
Because when you
What-
pay your monthly Cigna bill, your
Right.
finance,
Right.
that's where you're seeing broker fees,
Right.
which doesn't affect my budget specifically.
shared with everybody.
That's split
So if I
between the
could-
county.
if I could answer it.
Right.
What you're proposing, I understand, but that means so we jack up the insurance rates in the budget, and then we put the reimbursement in as a revenue,
Well,
and it's
just more
gonna come out,
accurate,
it's
you know.
gonna come out to the same number.
Right, but we're not paying it, but that way, it's shared, the cost, the increase is shared between the employee and the county. This way, we're taking.
Oh, I see.
We're taking all the benefit, you know. We're not sharing we're sharing the savings. And with the savings, we're supposed to pay for this. We're sharing the brokerage savings with the employee of this one, which is fairly nice to the employee, but it wasn't the intent.
Well, it is, we'll have to remember, the intent was to get away from a $170,000
Right, we use that money
broker
to pay
fee,
for
but,
this.
and we have, it's just,
What do we do with that savings?
it's 6 of one, half dozen of another,
Right,
however we show it, but that's why, I knew that question was coming, that's why I wanted to have a number in there when all is said and done, so that I can now
the jail
hit my trigger and change it, and yes.
So we're gonna take this all under advisement, I guess,
Yes,
until we get those figures in.
Yes.
Plug it into the form.
yep, well, while you're under advisement, we do have a request, or I believe the director has a request for a decision on HRIS to sign a contract.
Yes, I do have a request for that. So, they had, due to our budget cycle, ISOP had come back several times and granted us extension periods to sign a contract, which would waive any payment to them until January 1, because they know that's when our budget starts. I didn't like having to go back to them and ask them to extend the date further, so right now it is an expired date, but I'm fairly certain that if I call him this afternoon and say that it's been approved, he will get those reapproved and
So
back
let's
to
get
us.
current with the approval and.
But really, I mean, I think they'll support it, but really, the budget committee can undo that as well, couldn't they?
They could, but if you have full support, then you can undo the
Right.
yeah.
So my request would be, to, as long as they can delay our billing until January as planned, allow either the administrator or myself to sign that contract, so we can begin the implementation and data pulls and all the things you have to do to digitize.
So based on this, are we comfortable with moving forward with contracting for the new system with the understanding we have of some of the impacts and potential savings?
Yeah, I moved approval.
Do I have a motion for approval? Do I have a second?
So, Yep, Chair, if I could, and Commission, my only warning on this, you mentioned about the Budget Committee could undo it, but if you're signing a contract, you just have to find money somewhere else or figure out how to get out of the contract, but I feel this is solid enough that, yes, and I'm quite sure the tool is gonna be used appropriately, and you've heard from Finance as well, and we've seen this in action when we helped out Waldo, if you remember.
So I would just add to that, I mean, I'm not generally comfortable adding new programs before going through the budget committee, but with the timeliness of this, that we have to make a decision.
Yep.
And it's not a last minute thing that's been brought to us, we've been talking about this for a long time. So unfortunately, with the way our budget year runs, I think it's the only option we could not do it, but I think
Right.
it's the best option we've got.
Yeah, and this is an overall savings for the county.
Yeah,
It's an
I think it's
efficiency
a good
that way,
program,
yeah.
it's gonna be good. It'll be great.
Yeah,
Duly noted, thank you. At this
okay,
point,
you wanna vote?
if there's no further discussion, I would entertain a vote on this issue. All those in favor, please say aye.
I get two ayes here. Yeah,
Have two ayes, and the chair is an aye as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much, I appreciate it, and I understand the complexities to get to this point, so. No going back now.
The complexity is for yours to unwind.
No, you put it all together, you had me convinced, Tom. It was otherwise.
In writing.
Okay, at this point, we would call on our administrator for, we've covered most of the economic development meeting in Millinocket. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Scott.
On that one, I had Millinocket, East Millinocket, and you had indicated Medway. Do we want to include to push to Lincoln, or are we just looking for those, because Lincoln's been in the discussion, but.
Yeah, he was a-
They have, but I think out of courtesy, if there were other members that sought to get further information, they and Patton should be invited or made aware of the meeting at least.
Okay, yeah, thank you. If I could, can we, and I'm gonna put this under budget review, multiple departments. I didn't list it, but the commissioner budget,
Yep,
which is Department 6.
okay.
And that
First, or-
conversation falls right in line with a lot of, I can't count, here we go.
What are we on, the EMDC or?
Nope, Department 6, commissioners. Revenues, which the revenues are pretty flat, it's what it's been for the last few years. On the commissioner budget, again, nothing jumps out at me up top. The computer programming, as we discussed, is the increase there is a combination of the HRIS and Edmonds. And I didn't really increase anything else. I gave a little bit of a decrease on the capital.
Okay,
I actually moved the 700 up to furniture and fixtures and just reduced it to $1,000 even. So it's a $1,200. $1,200 savings. Total 11.73. I don't know if you see any lines there that you have concerns over, especially when it comes to travel or attendance and training. But again, we're going to have a workshop on the 29th? 29th.
the Edmonds share of the budget appears to be about 7%. If I'm calculating 32,000.
I'm gonna trust your, yep,
Well, that would put us in line with about almost a 4%, 4.5%.
right, I think everything else, if you just went up to payroll and looked at it, that's exactly where it'd be somewhere close to.
I guess the only other question I have is, and I know you're going into some of the contract negotiations, the paid family medical leave, we are still carrying the full 1% coverage for all employees?
No, that's half next year.
That is next year, okay.
Yep,
And that's across the board, or that's depending?
across the board, yep, across the board, yeah.
Right. Thank you. Any further discussions on Department 6, or should we take this under advisement?
No questions, under advisement, and we can move along to the others.
Okay?
And again, Chair,
What would you like to
discuss,
take
go ahead. Go ahead, sorry.
What would you like to take first?
Well, and looking through all of them, if you want to get out through them, each one individually, I wanted to present them simply for your information. For me, it would be, unless you want me to go down through each one individually, are there any of them that stand out that you want to discuss?
I think just if they have changes from the previous request, I mean, I don't see like is the barn in here and like extension service, are they part of the?
Yep, so, yep, okay.
I mean, unless they, for me, unless they've got
I'll
an
go
issue with
through,
the request.
yep, I'll go through real quick, and if, just holler at me and throw something at me.
I'm finding a hard time finding where you are.
Okay, Department 22 I'm gonna start with. I hadn't really started anywhere yet.
Is it in my book where I got it?
Yep, budget book, and I'm gonna go right in order.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
So 22 is retirement group
In the big book.
insurance.
22, right?
22, yes, sir.
All right.
But if I'm not correct, other than maybe some of the outside programs and donations, there are not many changes that we're going to be able to make to MEPERS, health and safety, jail cap, et cetera, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So that's one of them. That's flat funded, that's right in line at 105,000. The bridge account, if you want to come back to that, I'll go quickly, but if you do want to come back to that, because it's $100, and I know it's a big topic every year. Yes, I'm being facetious, but, Development Corporation, that's EMDC. Their request is flat funded at 63. Remember, the total contribution is 65, 2,000 comes out of PILT.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have loans and interest, which that's basically, it is what it is. We set a little bit aside for legal assistance on the TAN, interest on the TAN, and then there's the PRCC bond. I did increase the interest on the TAN. I still don't believe that's high enough. Well, historically, we've done, up until this year, looking at some numbers, we've taken interest earned and have been able to reduce that. I mean, it nets out the same in here, but it brings a smaller number down, and looking at the interest earned this year and the end of last year, yeah, that's not gonna happen, because we're bringing over cash and spending it just as fast.
Okay.
But again,
I mean, even if when we make these adjustments for next year, we're not gonna see that money until late in the budget year, so when we make those adjustments, so we're still gonna need
Yep.
substantial.
We are gonna need a substantial TAN, even with, that was explained. That was explained in the meeting. I think they actually understand it quite well. The response I'm getting is, one of the first steps is the county needs to go to a fiscal year. Yep. So that's when your cash flow gets ramped up. Building improvement, generally we talk about that at the end of the year. I just flat funded it. Sometimes, depending upon the plan, we need a better capital plan for that, and we're working on it.
Okay.
Program donations. So this one, we have a few requested increases from the library service, which are telling us it should no longer be called bills, or no longer reference Bangor, but Pine Tree Hospice and the Together Place.
I think anybody that wants an increase should come in.
Department 34. Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah,
Thank you, Scott.
yeah, sorry, Commissioner.
I mean, anybody's welcome to be in, but I think if they
Yeah.
want an increase, they should definitely come in.
Yeah, and I think what we've kind of like discussed with the chair, and we can go over real quick right now, is on the 15th, remember, I'm gonna be in sunny Florida, hopefully it's sunny. And so I'll be remote. The sheriff, civil, the jail budget, probate will all present. And then it'll give us a chance to kind of really look at the numbers overall. And then I think that's when the commissioners really want to go back and start taking a look at things and making notes. And then on the 29th, we'll have a meeting to sit down and basically hammer this out. And I will probably wait till after the 15th to not send any alarms too soon, but whether you want all of the program donations to come in and EMDC and extension, or if it's just the ones that are under consideration for changes or have it asked for an increase. So.
Well, I'm gonna wanna review all of these.
Okay, so if there's something that you question, again, I think on the 15th, we kind of talk, the three of you can kind of talk about it, and I'll follow up when I return, and then we'll send out invites. And it may be just as easy to invite everybody, but really express the certain ones that, you know, you kind of need to show up. Please show up, yeah.
Yeah.
For further explanation.
Okay.
So moving along, Department 35 is a county extension. They've asked for a 5% increase to 105,378. That's over $5,000 of an increase by.
That just covers the position, right? I think we used to pay some rent there, but this just covers the position, right?
Yeah, I think that's basically what the funding just kind of moved it down to. I believe they submitted some documentation. 36 is Penquis, flat funded at 25,000. Then you have soil conservation, which that is the position, the staff position, commissioner, covered by the county. Slight increase there with payroll adjustments. 39 is labor relations, 3,000, and the last one, Department 40, is our wage adjustment at 5,000.
Okay, any questions for information that the administrator might prepare for us, or we're good to take these all under advisement?
And take them all under advisement.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Moving on to 127 Hammond Street, former Y property. There is an offer that was submitted to our broker.
Yeah, are you comfortable with discussing it open? It's a fairly straightforward offer. It's for a sliver of a parcel up in the back section where we have a little bit of a driveway and a little bit of an entryway and another parking lot that sits there.
This would be on the Court Street end, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah, going up Court Street.
How much was the sliver? How much do they want?
I think it was, I can't recall what exactly it was, I'd have to, but.
Less than 100 feet?
I don't know.
Commissioner Trumbull, you've expressed a reservation about breaking up this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if it's, I don't know, that's what I mean, but I don't know how much they want. If it's a butter and they just need a few feet to do something to the property, maybe I look at it, but I mean, I don't want to split it in half, you know.
No, but the recommendation from the agent is to not due to subdivision rules. But if the 100 feet, less than 100 feet makes a
I mean,
difference.
I don't know. I mean, I think, it's like to look
We don't know what
get
they're
more
asking.
information.
Let me look into it further, give the broker some questions, and then,
I was saying, but somebody did reach out to me last week about it, I just hadn't called David Hughes.
Yeah.
It wasn't this person, it was somebody who wanted to develop, somebody who wanted to develop the property.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything further on that, or are we good to await further information from the administrator?
I think we're good. Yep.
Yeah, we need to know what they're looking.
Go ahead. I guess the only other thing is there's an interesting looking item behind you. Do you want to explain what that big blue trophy is?
Yes, Scott.
I think the individual that developed the little contest would be the better one to.
You want to set it up here on the table?
Well, for those of you who may recollect, we had our convention the 18th through 20th, and one of the awards were to recognize the county that really leaned into helping us with both generating sponsorships, having attendees, participating in some of the other activities, and head and shoulders, I'm very proud to say that Penobscot County delivered. They were able to, I'm still tallying some of the numbers, but I would say with the highest number of attendees, the amount of sponsorships that Scott and others were able to help us to secure from good businesses here in Penobscot that we certainly exhibited what I was hoping as president would happen, which is counties leaning in to support their organization, and we put ourselves proud. So thank you for the work that everyone did. Thank you for the attendance at convention, and I look forward to maybe us being able to host a future convention here in Penobscot again.
Where is next year's convention?
Okay.
Where's next year's, Andre?
Pardon me?
Where's next year's?
We're having the meeting in the next week here with the events committee to put together the criteria. And I expect by the first of the year, we'll be able to announce what county has bid and been awarded that opportunity. So stay tuned for coming attractions. At this point, we have item K, which is approval of warrants. Do I have a motion regarding the warrants appearing on today's agenda?
I move we approve the warrants on item K, today's agenda.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, except there's no dollar amounts listed on the agenda, just dates.
Well, they're listed there, but they're not aggregately added.
No, they're not listed, there's no dollar amounts.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I've got them here, $342,000.
Might be an updated agenda. Oh, that's the one we know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they get those.
Oh, you got a better agenda than I do, okay.
You should have got the other one.
Yeah,
But-
just gotta read them.
Yeah, it's in the.
Yeah.
Disappearing ink.
Yeah, there you go.
It's in your notebook. All right.
Well, that's how we're saving our cash flow. We're throwing, every other week we throw the bills out.
So second.
That's not funny.
If the numbers are accurately posted, we have a motion to approve them as they appear. Have a second?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you. We have now added to the agenda, Commissioner Marshall, an executive session at the request of the administrator. At this point, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. I believe it's for a personnel matter.
Yes.
Yep. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second? A motion and a second to go into executive session for personnel matter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. We'll take a brief break.